Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother***ing ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast. I'm Chris Randazzo and joining me tonight is Collapsible Design Dan Ryan.
Oh, I'm so collapsible.
Fold that bitch in half. The next Stone Age Starter Kit is here, and it's for one of the best systems ever produced, the Game Boy Advance. How many great GBA games can you get for under $100? I hope you don't want a copy of Aria of Sorrow, because the Stone Age Gamer Podcast starts now. Hi everyone, this is episode 439, and it is the week of December 2nd, 2022, and these are some expensive Game Boy Advance.
Oh my god.
A problem.
It is.
Oh my god.
I mean, and
this is crazy.
You said it at the open, one of the best systems ever. Like, you're not being fucking facetious. Like, it's really good. There's so many good games on the Game Boy Advance, and they're all expensive.
And, like, I have just about every GBA game that I legitimately want. There's not a lot out there that I'm really itching for, like, man, I really wish I had that one. So I don't really think about it all that often. So when people are, like, begging for Game Boy Advance games to come to Nintendo Switch Online, I never really thought twice about it until I made this list. I was like, holy shit. It is prohibitive to play the Metroid games. Like,
Yeah.
Unfucking believable. I mean, what is my Game Boy Advance collection at? According to GameEye, my Game Boy Advance collection is worth, Jesus Christ, $3,356. And that's for 46 games.
Dear God.
46 games valued at over $3,000?
That's insane.
What's my most expensive Game Boy Advance title? What's your guess? What do you think my most expensive Game Boy Advance title
Your
is?
most expensive Game Boy Advance title.
Priciest one I own.
God, I don't think you own Ninja Cop. Or Ninja 5.0. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't own that one.
God,
I don't have a lot of the weird ones. I just have most of the big ones.
Yeah. Either Zero Mission or Aria of Sorrow?
It's Zero Mission. Yeah,
yeah, those are
two.
Those are my most expensive ones. I mean, I obviously don't have it in the box because I'm an asshole. But yeah, like
Jesus, Aria of Sorrow is my 5th most expensive game. How did that happen?
It's
Drill Dozer
wild.
Is $180. Super Ghouls and Ghosts. It's complete in box, $175. I guess I understand the River City Ransom. I have a sealed copy of River City Ransom for $167.
Why not?
Aria of Sorrow is $156. Christ almighty.
That's absurd.
Bonkers. My River City Ransom EX still has the buy, play, trade Game Crazy sticker on the shrink wrap, which is why it's not opened. It's like, I think I got it clearanced for a couple of bucks. And I was like, yeah, I'll buy this. And like, I never got around to opening it to play it. And then at a certain point, it was like, no, I have a sealed Game Crazy game here. I'm just keeping that for posterity's sake.
Yeah,
I like
for
that.
Real.
If I want to play this, I'll load it up on my Pi or something.
Right? Like, it's such a good system.
Absolutely bonkers.
It's such a good system.
So many good games
loved it. I mean, I guess, are we telling the Game Boy story now?
No, we'll save that for later. What have you been playing? What have you played anything good
really.
Last week?
Not really.
Me neither.
I
haven't had
so
a lot of time.
Damn busy.
This week was I had a lot to do to get prepped for our Black Friday sale,
right.
And I only had like 2 days to do it because like there was some prep I could get done ahead of time, which I did the best I could. But we were all finalizing the what was going to be on sale, and I didn't get that information until like Monday. And knowing that Black Friday sale started on Wednesday, which is still a ridiculous sentence.
Yeah.
And Thursday was Thanksgiving, and today I was going to have family. I was like, all right, well, I need to get all the social media stuff prepped for the rest of the week in the first 2 days. And we're also doing a giveaway, which is pretty cool. We're giving away a PlayStation with Mode and 2 Defender controllers and like a bunch of other stuff too. So that's cool. But we got a new program to process this because we did a giveaway last year. We gave away an Xbox with HD Plus.
Oh, that's cool.
we were like, all right, so we're gonna we know what we're doing, right?
We got this.
We got this shit figured out. We're like, here's what we're gonna do. We want to build the what is it? We want to build our YouTube following. So we're gonna give this away, and how to subscribe, how to get entered for the contest is by following us on YouTube, liking the video, and commenting on it.
Oh,
what could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong with that?
The thing that went the wrongest, and I mean like the absolute wrongest, was that like as soon as the contest ended, there was somebody was creating a cavalcade of fake Stone Age Gamer accounts and commenting on all these comments saying, "You won, give us your information and send money to cover shipping to this." I don't remember what it was. One of those like bullshit, not like PayPal accounts, but it was one of those kind of things.
Hate
and
that.
Like, every time we would block them, a few hours later, another like 30 or 40 of those messages would go out. And we had to keep being like, that's not us. Do not give anyone your information. I can't believe I have to tell you this because like, it says Stone Age Gamer, but the account's like, yeah, send it to this weird account with all these strange symbols in it. Like, that ain't us. No. If it's not taking you back to our website, do not give them your information. So we got this new program that like handles like entries and everything for you. I forget what it's called, but Ryan just kind of gave me the basics of it, and it seems to be running very smoothly. It's really cool. So instead of like comment on this and we're like keeping track of who's commenting on things through YouTube, it's like this program, I think it's like a plugin for our site. You go and you fill out the form and it automatically tracks who enters and how, and you get a different entry for all the things you did. So like one entry is if you fill out the form. Another entry is if you like the YouTube video. Another one if you subscribe to it, and like another one if you share it or something like that. I don't remember what the exact rules are, but it keeps track of all that stuff for us, which is super cool.
That's great.
Yeah, and it seems to be going over pretty well so far. And I just learned some dreaded information. So today is Black Friday when we're recording this.
It is.
And
the blackest of Fridays.
The darkest. It's the Charlie Murphy of Fridays.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I have this $25 GameStop gift card that I don't want to spend at GameStop. But there's a bunch of stuff on sale on the Atari VCS shop. And I would very much like to buy Atari Mania for my Atari VCS. It's on sale for $18. That's
Who wouldn't?
Bad. I don't know. But I don't have... I just can't justify purchasing anything right now. Like, Christmas is coming. I got to buy gifts for the kids. Money's super tight. So, like... Yeah, I justified $4 to buy Super Meat Boy on the Switch because... it was $4, sure, but $18 for a game I'm not even 100% is going to be great.
Yeah,
I can't right now. It's just it's too tight. But I have $25 in video game related credit, and I just got confirmed from somebody in the Atari VCS Discord that the only way to buy VCS games is on the VCS store with a credit card. To which I say, drat. I really wanted to get Atari Mania physically. But I missed the limited run thing.
Yeah, it's super fucking annoying.
I'll never own that.
Yeah, that's super fucking annoying.
Yeah, like on one hand, I'm glad they exist to make physical products for, goons like me. But like, so this morning, I think I mentioned it on the show last week or off the show, but this morning I woke up at the ass crack of dawn to get out to my local record store to buy a record because today is record store day as well as Black Friday. And this record, if I didn't buy it today at the store, then I'd never see it again.
Nope.
Because it was released, it was 4,000 copies were made, period. Now I'm not 100% sure if there's like a standard edition somewhere. I haven't found any of them. The only listing I found for this, it's Traffic and Weather by Fountains of Wayne, is to get this vinyl as part of Record Store Day. And since it's part of Record Store Day, it means you can't reserve it. There are no pre-orders. It's like Free Comic Book Day. You go to the store and you buy what's there. And if they don't have it, and you hope. So my record shop opened at 6:00 this morning. So I was like, I'm gonna be a goon, and I'm gonna get there at 5. And so I roll up to the mall at 5 o'clock. First, funnier story. Before that, I wake up. I set my alarm for 4:15. I wake up. I, grumble for a little bit, and then I walk downstairs.
grumble.
Around 4:30, I walk downstairs, and my son and his cousin have gotten up moments before me to run downstairs and watch asshats on YouTube play Minecraft at 4:30 in the morning. And I was just like, absolutely not. It is 4:30 in the goddamn morning. Go back to bed. This is too early for this. You need to go back to sleep. I don't care. Go back to sleep. So I sent them back upstairs, and I heard them fucking around up there. And before I left, and I ran upstairs, I was just like, don't you fucking dare wake up anyone else in this house.
Don't you goddamn dare.
Do not dare. You need to stop making noise right now. Go back to sleep. The sun is not up yet, you goons. Go to bed.
You goddamn animals.
Apparently they stayed in bed until 5:45 or something. It was the closest we got. No, they were up at they were down in the basement and woke just about everybody up around 5:30. There was nothing I could do. It was out of my hands, whatever. So I went to the mall and I drove up and there's nobody else there. I don't see anybody else there. I go to the back entrance, which is the closest entrance to the record shop. And I'm waiting there for a good, half hour or so before anybody else shows up. And this other guy shows up and right behind me, and he's like, is anybody else in there yet? I'm like, the doors were all locked. He said, okay, here's what happened last year. This is the door to get to the rock shop, but the mall's got a lot of entrances. And last year, there was a whole group of us out here, and then before the doors were open, we saw 5 people walk up to the front of the store who just got here, even though we'd been here for hours. So I'm going to go drive to the other entrances and see what else is open. So I saved a spot for him, and everybody else who showed up completely understood. That's a great idea. That man is our hero.
That's right. We love this guy.
Everybody respected the line. And he drove around. None of the other doors were open. So we all wait there, and as it's getting, I don't know, it was probably around 5:30. A security guard. No, it was around closer to 5:30, 5:40, whatever. Security guard is coming up to open the door, and we see people behind them start walking over. So oh man. So we get there, and we all remembered our place in line, and there was this one young dude, and then this other guy and his kid. And the guy and his kid, they just got there. They just strolled the fuck up and they landed second in line. The other guy who got there before us, we gave no trouble to at all because that guy had apparently been waiting at the front entrance of the mall since 3.
Jesus Christ.
See, now I wanted this Fountains of Wayne record. This guy wanted a Foo Fighters album that came out today. I don't remember what it was. Some sort of live Foo Fighters thing. And the store only had one.
Oh my God.
One fucking copy. And Jesus, I just have to know what this is looking like. And he was a really cool guy too. He was a young guy. He must have been in his early 20s or something. Just enjoying collecting vinyl because I don't know.
Yeah, but the Foo Fighters,
weirdo.
They're okay at best.
I don't know. I don't love them, but I can understand loving them. I can understand being a huge Foo Fighters fan. I really can't,
if I'm being honest. I don't know. I put them in the same stratosphere with fucking Aerosmith. Call back to last week. They are okay at best. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think they're quite good. So this record that he got is currently all over eBay.
Of course
it is. Dream Window, and it's ranging anywhere from $50 to $100, because of course it is. So what's the one that I went for today? Fountains of Wayne, traffic and weather. Vinyl. Let's see. What are we looking at here?
$3. Could have gotten it cheaper. Son of a bitch.
No, they're all listed for over. It was $30. The lowest I've seen so far. One of them is there's one with bids on it. It's up to 6 bids. It's got 16 hours left. It's at 15, but everything else is like 40, 50, 60. Because people bought these just to scalp them, and I hate you all.
I know. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Like, what the hell, man? What the absolute hell?
Like, I'm really glad that the records that I'm trying to get right now, like, I want Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run. There's probably not going to be, like, a huge scalping market on a record that came out in the 70s. You know? Theoretically, not. Anyway. There's a record store by me that has it for, like, $18, and I think I'm going to go get it soon. Especially because it was pressed in Pittman, New Jersey, which is
that's cool.
20 minutes away from my house. So that's kind of cool.
The record itself is so freaking cool looking. It's orange with black streaks, and I didn't really know what I was expecting, but it's clear orange with the black streaks, so it looks like this amber. It just looks amazing.
That's cool.
It's one of the coolest looking records I have. It's so awesome. I listened to it twice today. It's nice. It sounds great. It's wonderful. So there's only one more proper Fountains of Wayne album that I don't have on vinyl. It was their last album, Sky Full of Holes, which is a fantastic record. They also have their B-sides album, Out of State Plates, is coming out on vinyl, which I didn't think it was going to, but it's coming out. But that's just going to be in stores. I think it might be a Target exclusive, actually. But it's like it's a whole double thing.
That's cool.
Because it was a huge CD set. It was a 2 CD set, so I think it's going to be at least a 2 vinyl. Let me see what the listing has it at. Out of State Plates. That's a different thing. That's not Fountains of Wayne. All right. There you are. So, Junkyard Swirl vinyl. What does that even mean? What does that mean? It's going to be $43.99. Which, it's a double album thing.
Sure.
It's like it's the Fountains of Wayne that I listen to the least, but it would be literally the only Fountains of Wayne album I don't have on vinyl, minus the newest one, or the last one, which I am assuming is going to get a re-release, because since I started collecting vinyl, all of their albums have been re-released except for that last one. They're doing them in order, so I don't know. I'm on the fence on this one.
Have you seen the fucking Paul McCartney vinyl box set that is coming out?
No.
It is 80 7-inch singles.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It comes in like a wooden art deco like fucking crate or whatever. It is $612 goddamn dollars. $612. It's 80 fucking 2-sided fucking singles, and then it's all like weird shit, all hand selected by Paul McCartney. They're making 3,000 copies of it. It is fucking dumb. It's so dumb. I love it. I want it, obviously, but like I'm never gonna have it. There are just some things in this world too rich for our blood. I was more than pleased yesterday. We had Thanksgiving dinner at the house, and right before dinner started, I went and grabbed the original Bing Crosby "Merry Christmas" and put that record on, and we had the record going and the family over, and it was outstanding.
That's
loved
fantastic.
every second of it.
I haven't done any Christmassy stuff yet, besides watching Christmas Vacation and After Thanksgiving, and like getting the Christmas stuff down from the attic. Like, usually it starts today, but it just didn't today, and it's not like for lack of Christmas spirit, morning. Yeah, I mean,
fair.
being out for Black Friday, and it was like, I had this thought that we were all going to go get the tree today.
Right.
But it was freaking raining all morning.
Yeah.
And I was half asleep because I'd been up for so long. And the kids were all having fun downstairs, so I'm prepped for it tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to wake up in the morning, and I'm going to start playing Christmas music, and I'm very excited about it. Because, like, for some reason, I was really able to get into Halloween spirit this year more than usual. I was really into the whole fall Thanksgiving thing, and I'm super jazzed for Christmas. I'm always jazzed for Christmas, but I'm really feeling it this year. Really feeling it.
I put the
excited.
I put the antlers on my car today. Very excited
about it. Oh, right, you showed me you got the antlers.
So fucking happy. I'm putting them on outside, and my fucking neighbor across the street, this dude Patrick, comes out. He goes, "Fucking really, dude?" And I was like, "Shut up, Patrick. You don't own me."
You're goddamn right.
You bah humbug to you,
goddamn right,
sir. How dare you? Fuck yeah, I'm putting antlers on my car. I'm reading the back of the packaging. It's like, not designed for highway use. So, well, where else do you think cars go, assholes? He's better be designed
for highway use.
I'm
going to test that theory, sir.
I'm gonna, because, you know, like, put them on your front window. No, I'm gonna put them on the back window. Guys don't get to tell me what to do. Oh no, it was we did our annual Thanksgiving horror movie last night, which I don't know why that became a thing. I don't remember. I think it started with the Human Centipede. It's been a thing since then. But Katie ate herself sick yesterday. She was in bed by like 6:30. She was fucking out. It was ridiculous. She came down and said goodbye to the family. She was like, "I'm going to bed, guys, later." We're like, "What are you doing, kid? Fucking football game's not even over." She was like, "I know. I ate too goddamn much." Which is what my uncle brings over this delicious Middle Eastern food. He brings over Muhammada, which is just this really delicious, like, red peppers and walnuts and oil, and it's all like blended together. It's fucking outstanding. And he does like homemade hummus, and that, you know, always have like cheese and pitas and shit, like, to start the day. And like, Katie goes fucking crazy for it, for the for it's Muhammada and hummus. And my aunt texted the other day, and she wanted to know if Uncle Harvey should bring Muhammad and the homeless. And I was like, "What? Fuck are you talking about?" It's like, sure, it's Thanksgiving, so like, whatever, the more the merrier, I guess. But I was like, "Do you mean Muhammad and hummus?" She was, "Oh my god." Yeah, so from now on, it's Muhammad and the homeless. It's so fucking funny. But so, like, Katie ate herself sick. She's in bed. The family leaves. We're like, "All right, we're fucking doing this. Pen, sit on the couch. You're becoming a part of horror Thanksgiving." She was like, "All right, what are we watching?" It's like, "We are watching Cabin in the Woods. Brace yourself. This shit's fucking wild." And she's 13, and like, it's time. And she had a blast. She's screaming at the, "Oh my god, son of a Mom, can I have a curse pass?" No. She goes, "I don't care. Holy shit." Screaming as things are happening. I know you've never seen Cabin in the Woods. You really should.
I've never seen all of Cabin in the Woods.
Oh,
I think I got as far as the wait, I'm not thinking of the wrong. Am I thinking? Are we talking about the one where the girl shaves her legs and
no, that's
the flesh-eating virus?
That's Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever.
Yeah,
okay. I got as far as the leg shaving scene, and I noped the fuck out of that movie. No, I haven't seen Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods stars Thor and Bradley Whitford. Do you know the story? I mean, I'm going to spoil the story if you don't care.
No, by all means, go ahead.
It's fucking brilliant. So what it is these kids, 5 kids, end up going to Thor's cousin's house, this cabin in the woods, and a horror movie unfolds with all of the horror movie tropes that you would expect. Except everything that's happening is being controlled by this secret government organization, and they do it this way with like the girl who's slutty, the whore as it's referred to in the story. She has to be the first one to die because the girl who takes her top off is always the first one to die in a horror movie. And it just plays off like all the classic tropes, but they're doing all of this and they're setting it up this way to appease the ancient gods or whatever. And like all of the other like horror movie tropes that happen around the world, like they're watching them on monitors and they're all failing as things are happening. Like the Japanese one is like this fucking demon chick in a room full of schoolgirls, and like they defeat the demon girl. So like Japan fails, and it's like, oh, it's just down to us, and Bradley Whitford and his other science dude are like walking around. They're all cocky. It's fucking brilliant. It's such a interesting send up of like horror movie tropes. And what happens at the end of it, the stoner and the virgin character figure out that they're being manipulated, and they find their way into this underground base, because this cabin naturally is located on top of the base, right? Because you have to sacrifice the people over where the monsters are and all of that shit. So as they're going through, they realize that there's a scene early on in the movie where they go into the basement, and whatever the characters pick up in the basement is the monster that they send up from their collection of monsters in boxes to go kill them. And they figure that out. But it's every horror movie trope you can think of. There's a fucking stabby clown, and there's like a ballerina who just has teeth for a face. And there's a giant fucking snake. And they let all of them out of their cages to go fucking crazy in this facility. And it's just so ridiculously over the top gory that it's hysterical. There's this giant cobra's ripping shit in half, and there's a dragon bat and fucking just a ghost spirit like burning things up. There's a fucking merman that is just the most disgusting thing. He starts chomping down on Bradley Whitford and spewing blood out of his blowhole on the back. It's so fucking silly. And the whole time we're watching it, Penn is just, oh my God! Oh my God! Like, you said you wanted to watch horror movie, kid. Like, this is what you got. Sorry. We'll watch something fucking wild next year. Oh, it's so good. I think you would actually really love Cabin in the Woods, because it's not gory in the way of like, oh, that's so realistic, it's disgusting. It's just such a wonderful parody. It's so smart. And like parody's not even it's not even the right word. It's a hard movie to describe unless you've seen it, but it's so fucking good. I love that movie so much. And I feel like it would have been a little bit more impactful for her had she seen A Nightmare on Elm Street and It and Hellraiser, like in all the movies that these monsters are from. But like, you know enough. You know what I mean? To get the gist of it. It was fucking awesome. I love it. Yeah, I don't know how you follow that.
I got nothing.
I don't know how you follow that, but I don't know. We'll start watching Christmas movies soon. I think this year I'm going to introduce the kids to, if not my favorite Christmas movie, it's really high up there, and that would be The Ref. Have we ever talked about The Ref? I fucking love that
we
movie.
watched The Ref for the first time in a long time, maybe like 3 years ago. And it's good, but it wasn't as good as I remembered it.
Really? I think it holds up very well.
I mean, it was still very good. I remembered it being absolutely hysterical, and then it was like Karen and I were both like, yeah, it was good. It just wasn't as good as I remembered it being. But
was this after Kevin Spacey was purported to be, or not purported, but reported, I suppose, to be a creep?
I think this was before that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh no, maybe we'll do my my offbeat Christmas movie marathon. We'll do The Ref and then Jingle All the Way back to back, because those are two of my favorites. And I feel like Kevin Spacey and Dennis Leary into Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad makes a really good transition.
Well, you know how much I love a good movie marathon, Dan.
So you got to talk to me a little bit about Rocky. I know you got to talk to me a little bit about it. Like
with pleasure. All right, so we did a Rocky marathon.
This is what happens when we don't play video games during the week. Talk about movies
on last Saturday. So on my my movie podcast, we made it to the letter R, and I had never seen Rocky. And then Sean, I think, said, no, Paul said, I'm going to watch all the Rocky movies. And then Sean said, we should do that together in one day. And I said, that's just stupid enough to be fun. So we made that happen. We scheduled it out so that me, Paul, and Sean, and our other friend Greg, gathered together in my basement. And Paul brought his Blu-ray box set that he found used at like a pawn shop for like $5 or something, with all 6 Rocky movies in it. And we got to work. I had never seen any Rocky movies before, and we wanted to start no later than 9 a.m. So naturally, Sean showed up. It was like 9 o'clock, and we couldn't find Sean. We called both of his sisters, and they both assumed that he was asleep at the other's house. We eventually found him. He was at his older sister's house, fast asleep. Greg started yelling at him to get his ass over here. So he came over, and what we did is we recorded like the opening of the show, talked about it for a little bit, and introduced the movie. Then we watched the movie, and then we would talk about it afterwards. So we had these little interludes, and I strung all that together to be the podcast. Rocky 1 was great. I really liked it. Pretty well top to bottom. It wasn't what I wasn't expecting from the movie was I just kind of assumed that the movie was about Rocky being an underdog, working his way through the ranks, and becoming a champion.
Yeah, no.
But that's not what the movie is.
No, not at all.
Which is pretty cool. I didn't expect that to be the plot of the way things actually went in the movie. And that was fun. And I also really didn't expect the character of Rocky to be so goofy. Like, and I don't mean goofy as in like, like this is really stupid, but like he was kind of a goofball. Like, yeah, he was a likable goofball. I think the best word we came up for him was simple, as in not like, because he put one too many hits with the snake,
One too many hits with the snake, for sure.
But but in a really nice way. Like, he was a good dude, and I really liked that about him. Dude just said whatever came popped into his head at any given moment. And I loved that about him. Like what was his last freaking line in the movie is, "Where's your hat?" She cracked me up, especially because as she's running through the crowd, as Adrian's running through the crowd at the end, and she lost her hat, I was like, "Oh, I love that hat." Like, it was a good hat. And then like I said that out loud as we're watching it, and then he says, "Where's your hat?" And I was like, "This guy gets it." I identify with this guy. That was a good hat. What happened to it?
It's wild too, because it's such like an honest movie. Mm-hmm. Like there's an earnestness and a realism to the whole fucking the first two. I would say
the first two, yes, 100%. Finish your.
Yeah, like the first two movies, I think my favorite, and I haven't watched them all back to back like you psychopaths did in a long time. I have not like really sat down to think about it. But like in my mind, 2 is, I think, the best of the movies.
A lot of them are kind of bleeding together, but I liked 2 because 2 expanded on what's his name? Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
It expanded on him a lot. And I thought that was cool because I didn't know how much more of that guy we were going to see because I just kind of assumed that each movie was going to be him going up against a different boxer.
Right.
But that wasn't really the case. Creed stuck around, and there was something very lightning in a bottle about the first one. And I think the second one was about as good a follow-up as you could have done to the first one. It was great. But I think there was a certain magic to the first one that really clicked with me a bit more than 2. Then we got to 3, and it was such a huge change.
Like massive jump in style.
And not just style, but his character was so different. Rocky was no longer a lovable goofball at all. He was very serious in that movie, and that took me back a lot. That made that movie so much less likable to me. However, Clubber Lang is a great freaking villain.
He is one of the best movie villains of all time.
He was
like
just
not just
a
action
bad
villain.
guy.
He's a bad fucking guy.
Yeah, his presence in the ring was just nuts, and that was what the next 2 movies did that was so different from the first one. Like the first one, there really wasn't very much boxing in it at all. There was a match in the beginning and a match at the end, and that was it.
Yeah.
The 3 and 4 were both like, we need an excuse to make a movie that ends in a giant, awesome boxing match.
Yeah.
And that's what those 2 movies were. And like 4, that kind of blew my mind because that's what, like 3 was where, what was 3 was Eye of the Tiger, or 4 was Eye of the Tiger, right?
No, Eye of the Tiger was 2. And then it's in the rest of them.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, when they're running on the beach.
Yeah, that was when he was
3.
training him.
Sorry.
That was when, that's
3.
when he's training him, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like, that's one of the iconic Rocky things, and it's not till the damn 3rd movie. It's
I know.
like, I expected that to be in the first one.
I put that in our Discord too, but like the soundtracks to the Rocky movies are fucking incredible.
To the first couple ones, yeah, first 4.
That like
a soundtrack in Rocky 5 was
okay.
A product of its time.
The original score for the music that plays during the fight scenes,
especially in Rocky 4.
Oh my god,
Rocky 4,
so
that Ivan Drago fight was nuts. That movie's fucking nuts. Like that movie's like,
I can't wait for you to watch the alternate cut too, because it's such a different film. Like watching the cut that was released, what was that, earlier this year or late last year or whatever?
Yeah, I'm very curious to see that because like the fucking robot and Paulie's the worst. Oh, what a shit!
He sucks.
He just sucks. By the time the 5th movie comes around and he's like, "What? I gave them power of attorney to lose all of your money." What? Dude just ruined everything for everyone, and he's like, "What? It's not my fault." Like, it's 100% your fault.
100% your fault, Paulie.
And like, oh god, what was it? Was it the 4th one? One of them starts with this whole thing of Paulie being jealous. It's like this whole jealousy thing. Like, that's the start of the movie, is like, Paulie is jealous of Rocky's success. This is the plot of this movie, never mind.
Yeah.
It just goes for like a half an hour, and then he just gives him a job, and that's the end of it. They never speak of it again. Like,
I think that might...
What the fuck did you just do?
That might be 3. God, again, I have not seen them in so long.
I watched them all together, so they bled together a lot. But
3 is a wild ass movie because you have the Clubber Lang stuff, you have Thunder Lips, the ultimate male.
Oh my god, yeah, that was
Hulk
great.
Hogan is so fucking great. And then Mick dies, and you're like, what the fuck? This is insanity. Like, dead Mick.
Mick dying didn't surprise me because I expected him to die at any minute since the first movie.
But it still sucks. And then Clubber beats the shit out of him. And then you get the, hey woman, why don't you come to my apartment? I'll show you what a real man is like. It's like, oh my god, you're a fucking monster. But then 4, I think, is one of the most incredible pieces of cinematic history. It is such a fucking product of its time. Like,
oh, it really is.
The East versus West, like, it just goes from James Brown to fucking dead Apollo in the ring to Rocky announcing that he's going to fight in Russia on Christmas, and then Adrian up at the top of you can't win, Rock. Oh, it's so good. And that one, training montage. The Hearts on Fire training montage.
Wow.
Fucking shit. Oh
my
God, I love it.
All right. Here's my thing with the training montage. I think it was the one in 4 where it's like it was just a bunch of scenes.
Yeah.
It was just this weird flashback of scenes that were strung together by nothing.
Yeah.
It was just like, and now I'm thinking about Adrian. And here's just a bunch of literally random scenes from the past 3 movies that have no connection to each other whatsoever, except she's in them. And then we're going to do it for the next character.
And now I'm running. Now I'm running in the snow.
What are you doing?
Now I'm lifting these guys in this fucking wheelbarrow, doing the shit in a cabin.
Completely bonkers.
And then 5 and 6. 5 is terrible. I know you said you didn't hate it, but
I did not hate it.
I fucking hate Tommy Gunn. That fucking piece of shit. He's such a dick. He's apparently a monster in real life as well.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, he sucked, but, like, that was kind of the point, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't supposed to like that guy.
If I'm going to look this up as you chat about it for a second, but I think there's a thing that super makes him suck in real life.
I mean, his mullet was pretty nasty, too.
Yeah, that's
But here's
great.
the thing. So, that whole movie was, like, this whole thing with his kid, and again, it wasn't a masterpiece or anything like that, but I was genuinely engaged in it because it tried to tell a story instead of trying to get to a boxing match, which was what 3 and 4 did. And this kind of felt a lot more like the first one, probably because he wound up going back to Philly, and so like the environment seemed the same, and it was the return of the director of the first one. But it was I felt for the characters, and like the whole time, I'm like, Rocky, your kid is who you should be doing this stuff for, not this mullet dude. The real problem with the movie was that it completely fucking falls apart at the end. Like, they had no idea how to end this movie, so they're like, that's it, giant street fight. We're gonna make everyone a cartoon character, and it's just gonna be a giant fucking street fight. And apparently Rocky was supposed to die in like a couple of the movies, and they were like, nah, keep him alive.
Keep doing this.
Keep doing it, and you never know. But yeah, no, I thought it was good. I liked 5. I didn't think it was great, but I really enjoyed it. And same one for 6, more or less. Like, 6 was a solid movie. My biggest compliment to 6 was that they didn't do what it looked like they were gonna do the whole time, which was to have Rocky hook up with that girl that he was helping out. The whole time I'm looking at it like, don't you dare cross that line. You met this girl in the first movie, and like you knew her as a child. Do not cross this line, movie. Don't you fucking dare. And they didn't. He was totally platonic, and I really respected them doing that, because I wouldn't put that past a major Hollywood movie to do something like that, and they didn't, and I was proud of them for it.
Did you
find what you're looking for yet?
Yeah, there is controversy surrounding Mr. Tommy Morrison, the guy who plays Tommy Gunn, because he was a real boxer. Who originally retired after testing positive for HIV, and said he would never fight again. And then, like, 10 years later, was like, nope, those tests were bullshit. I have clean tests. And then, like, started fighting again. And, like, his manager at the time came out and was like, nah, Tommy's fucking with the tests. He definitely has AIDS.
God.
And then, like, he went into a boxing ring and like had a couple of fights and whatever, and then he a few years later died of AIDS. So like, it's kind of a weird thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's get into a bunch of fights where we bleed all over people.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
That is a choice.
Gross.
I'm glad you liked it, man. I really am. And I really want you to watch Creed. At least
I
the
plan
first
to.
one.
I want to watch all of them. I've sat through 6 Rocky movies. Damn right I'm going to watch Creed.
At this point. I thought the first Creed was outstanding. I thought the second Creed was a bit silly. Like the premise was a little like, okay, all right. You're just looking for an excuse. But like, I'm really excited for the third one. But man, that first fucking Creed movie is also Rocky's in it. So like, you kind of have to watch it.
Yeah.
Because like Rocky's a big part of the first Creed movie.
If we could have fit it into the day we wanted to, I mean, we're like, yeah, let's get the Creed ones in there too. We were like, mathematically speaking, we're already doing 11 hours of Rocky movies plus podcasting. Like, we didn't finish until like, well after 11. And by that point, we're like, I can't. I just can't anymore. We have to stop. This has to be over now.
Yeah. They're fucking good, man. I'm glad you liked
it. It was a really good time. It was a hell of a day. It was a lot of fun. All right, let's see. Real quick, video games.
46 minutes in. Yeah, I've really played nothing other than Snap and Pad. Like, I haven't even spent much time with God of War this week. I've just been so fucking busy.
We let's see. While we were waiting for Sean, Paul and I played what was it? A Yar's Revenge Recharge 2-player, which was really fun.
That's pretty awesome.
Because we're down here and I have no games, like I don't have any like straightforward, just fun pick up and play games for my PS4. And like we were on that television, we had the PS4 on because that's where we were playing the Blu-rays, and it was just I didn't want to set up any of the retro consoles behind me. I'm like, okay, well, I'll turn on the Atari. I got a couple of 2-player games on the VCS, so Paul and I played Breakout Recharge together and Yar's Recharge together, and it was a blast.
I'm just saying,
great, man.
There's a whole arcade cabinet down there.
Well, yeah, but that was all the way over there. We were on the couch, ready to get going.
We would have had to get up, use our legs.
And that was the thing. If I got up to do anything, that's when Sean was going to show up.
Of course.
So, and there was a point where Sean left for a while, and I beat like 3/4 of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Sure, why not?
It seemed like the right thing to do.
Fucking nuts. Oh, you're an animal, sir. It's what I love about you.
Yeah, and I'm almost done with at least I'm fairly confident I'm almost done with the Haiku the Robot. That game is really great.
Nice.
I really think that you'd like that game. It has so much in common with Hollow Knight, but a little bit more streamlined. It's that's really something.
Yeah, I got to get to it. I got to finish God of War first. I have to. I just haven't had, like I said, any time at all this week.
That's fair. And I didn't really take any notes on this for anything else that I was playing. I don't think there was anything else of any real importance that I played this week. At least I can't think of anything.
Must not have happened then.
Yeah, I mean, like I know I got a Super Meat Boy on sale. Yeah, I don't think I really. It was just a lot of working. A little more of Atari 50. I'm in the 2600 arena now. Yeah.
All right. Well, fuck it. Let's take a break then.
Yeah. All right. We'll take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, we'll do the Game Boy Advance Starter Kit. You are listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and Geekade.com.
First up, Chris. He's that guy.
That's me.
Over there. Yeah, him.
Me.
The one who's talking. Well, not talking. I'm talking. The one who's also talking. He's written a lot of stupid stuff over the years, but this might just be at the top of the pile of things he can't believe someone let him get away with publishing. Video game meets. Right there is probably good enough, but I'll read the rest of the copy. Have been around just about as long as video games themselves have. But while they may refill your character's health meter, whatever that is, fuck, I'm tired and drunk. How delicious would that be in real life? My dumbass co-host here pontificated on which video game meats he would eat if he managed to encounter them himself in honor of the Thanksgiving holiday, and a lack of better things to write about. Do yourself a favor and hold on. I'm gonna make an edit. Do yourself a flavor and head on over to the gratuitous Rainbow Spectrum, the frankly ridiculous name Stone Age Gamers blog, and check out Chris's latest masterpiece in mediocrity. Let's talk turkey.
That flavor is gravy.
Very peppery.
Next, on the third episode of Geekade's new music podcast, it was once again my pick, and I went with one of my all-time favorite bands, Dispatch. This trio, or once called One Fell Swoop, had a profound effect on my life, and their music has stuck with me in the years since. They're also an independent band, and one which Matt had never heard of before. How did he like them? Did I do a good job of picking 10 tracks from their vast catalog of music? Find out in Turning Tracks,
Shatnery.
Episode 3, Dispatch.
What was the general one of the tracks?
Yes, that was track 1.
Oh my God.
Of course it was.
That's like top 10 songs of all time.
It really is.
That
one
song
of my
is
all-time
so
favorites.
fucking good. Dear God. Anyway, finally, do you like watching dudes from New Jersey stream video games?
Who doesn't?
Do you just like watching dudes from New Jersey? Well, have I got a Twitch channel for you? Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, our good friend Mike Sheridan, a.k.a. Nintendude and Jay, takes to Twitch to stream some video game goodness. His friend Brian, a.k.a. The Rouch, is also a regular streamer and an all-around good and extremely attractive dude. Together, they form what they're calling the Watchtower, presumably because people are supposed to watch them, and Brian is, well, as a point of fact, a delicious tower of man meat. Either way, you should... for real. Like, I'm not, but I would. Either way, you should head on over to... He wouldn't have me. Twitch and check out the Rouch and Nintendude NJ, streaming regularly for your viewing pleasure.
For all this and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your eyes on Brian Rouchy's hotabs.com. Geekade.com. All right, we are back. I wrote the intro, I wrote the outro. I didn't write anything for this part. That's fine. It's the Game Boy Advance Starter Kit. What we do, if you're new around here, is we do... if you had $100 to start a physical game collection for a specific console, what games should you get? This month we are on Game Boy Advance, and that was a little bit of a challenge, although because the system is so expensive to collect for. But since the Game Boy Advance, you would assume that you have whatever accessories are necessary for any game, right? It's just about buying the games. Yep. You want to get them loose, so it's just about games. This isn't obviously something you should do in real life, because there's a lot of better ways to do this than what we're talking about. It's more just an exercise in fun conversation. So, since the Game Boy Advance is not region locked, that means that games from all regions are free and clear. So, my list I made last week, because I was working so much this week, there was just absolutely no way I was going to get to properly sitting down and finding time to do this like today or yesterday or whatever. So, I'm pretty sure my prices are still in pretty good shape. I wound up at exactly $100. And since I have more games than Dan does, I'm going to go first.
That's right.
First game for me You know what? I'm going to have to move this one because we usually do these in alphabetical order, and this one starts with a number, so I'm going to go ahead and move that to the top of the list. And my first game is 2 games in 1, Sonic Advance plus Sonic Pinball Party, the PAL version for $18. There are a lot of pretty good platformers on this system, but a lot of them are pretty goddamn expensive too. The Mario Advance games, on one hand, are great because they are the old Mario games, but kind of gussied up with some pretty obnoxious voiceovers. I went with the Sonic Advance one because the first Sonic Advance is a pretty cool game. It's one of the first Sonic games on a non-Sega platform. But Sonic Pinball Party's freaking great. I think Sonic Pinball Party is a really good time. And both of those games wrapped up in a single package. It seemed like a really good call for $18. So I liked that one. I went with it. That's my first pick.
Well, that is...
I know you don't feel the same.
Definitely not my first pick.
Definitely not on your list.
Definitely not on my list. Didn't even make the cut, Chris. Wasn't under consideration.
I didn't imagine anything that says Sonic would be for you.
I can't fault you for that pick. I mean, I do, but I can't.
Part of me knows I shouldn't, but I do.
But I must. The first game that I have on my list, I don't think is very surprising, since we do this in alphabetical order. That is for $33. My list came out to 5 games and a total of $98. But the first game on my list, $33, Advance Wars 2.
Ooh. See, I still haven't played those yet because Nintendo hasn't released the goddamn games. But yeah, that didn't make my cut. I didn't even consider it.
No, well, and how could you? You haven't played them. I mean, that would be disingenuous at best.
And at that price, that's not a small price.
It is not a small price, but man, is it worth it. Like, there is $33 worth of gameplay here. Like, the first Advance Wars is awesome. This is an incredibly good follow-up to a game. Like, because the first Advance Wars kind of came out of nowhere and was like, oh, this game's fucking dope. Like, we don't know shit about this game here in the States. But this is great. Please give us more. And they did. And it was like more of what you wanted. They didn't add a bunch of like stupid shit to it. There's only one new unit in Advance Wars 2. They added this thing called the Neo Tank, which is really fucking cool. It's still got all like the classic strategy tactics kind of gameplay that if you had played the first Advance Wars like you were looking for in this one. They expanded the roster of commanding officers with all of their different powers. The story is minimal, but what story is there is great. The writing is very, very good. It looks great. It's one of those games that is super, super simple to get into, but incredibly difficult to master. And as you're making your way through the game, like, you're getting better, you're using these different COs, like combining their powers and stuff, thinking about how they're going to play out on the map and how you want to do things. Then once you finish with that, you've got the War Room, which has all of these different missions. There's a multiplayer mode in it that's great. You can do like up to 4 people can play against each other. There's a map creator. This game is out goddamn standing. And in my opinion, like, as crazy as this might sound, if you had to get one game for the Game Boy Advance, I would probably pick Advance Wars 2. That is how strongly I feel about this game. Because, like, I know we're within, like, a certain budget, right? Because if you had to pick one game, then you should probably get, like, Zero Mission. But, out of my list, like, looking at my entire list, this is probably the game that I would recommend the highest. I fucking love this game. And goddamn it, Nintendo, release the fucking remakes already.
I've heard
or just
good
announce
things.
That they're canceled.
I need to check a price on one of my games. Just because it was such an unbelievable price to begin with. And just want to make sure that it's at least even vaguely still valid. And
That you're
no,
not
it
talking
is.
shit?
I cannot believe that that's the thing, but I just double checked it. It's still there. So
All right.
okay, it stays on my list. But that's not my next game. My next game is was a little spicy at $25, but I do not care because I think it just needs to be there. Something like this needs to be there. There's too many of these that are so good to be avoided, and the best bang for your buck in the Metroidvania department is Castlevania Circle of the Moon for $25.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Circle of the Moon is just freaking awesome. And like both Metroid games and all three Castlevania games are spicy AF. Circle of the Moon is easily the most affordable, and it is well worth $25. Well worth it.
Yeah, it didn't make my list. It didn't.
I'm surprised.
It to.
I really thought one of those Castlevanias was going to be on your list for sure.
I wanted it to, but they're so expensive. And as I was looking at this, I was like, they are incredible games without question. All of the Game Boy Advance Castlevanias are incredible. All the DS Castlevanias, it just really, really, really solid games. But we've already done a starter kit where, we talked about other Castlevania games that you could play and different ways to get it. And thinking about like this first $100, because Circle of the Moon is like on my secondary list. So thinking about this first $100, I was really trying to think of things that, and I'm going to fly right in the face of that with the next game that I give, but whatever. Things that were like definitively Game Boy Advance experiences. And like, those Castlevania games are so good. And I kind of flip-flop back and forth between this one and Castlevania. But for my second game for $24, I went with Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. This game
Another
is
one
so
I've heard
great.
good things about. I've never really gotten into any tactics games. Wow, you're putting Final Fantasy Tactics and Advance Wars on there, huh?
Well, they're so different. Like they're tactical RPG strategy, whatever. But Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, like it's not a sequel to Final Fantasy Tactics. It is just like more Final Fantasy Tactics, but it's so different than Advance Wars. Here you've got a much, much deeper story. You've got all the Final Fantasy trappings and trimmings and all of the nonsense that goes along with it. It is it's different perspective, right? You've got the isometric kind of 3D-ish perspective. It's just an outstanding game. An absolutely wonderful, wonderful game. I probably like between this and Advance Wars 2 are the two games that I played the most on the Game Boy Advance. I think you have to have it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with you. It's not my cup of tea. But I've heard from many great sources, including you, that it is one of the finest games in the Game Boy Advance, and it's really just one of the best tactics games ever made. So
it's one of the best tactics games ever made. It's one of the best Final Fantasy games ever made. It's just great. Looks gorgeous. Played really well on the TV too. Like this game really, really benefited from the Game Boy player, but was perfectly suited for the pick up and play of the Game Boy Advance. Just a fucking outstanding game.
Okay. Let's see here. So this one, I put some thought into this one. I kind of waffled back and forth on whether or not it should really make the cut because of I wanted there to be a racing game on it.
Sure.
My initial thought was I wanted it to be Mario Kart because I spent so very much time with that one, but that's another expensive one. So that just wasn't going to happen. So I thought back, what's the other racing game on this system that I spent a ton of freaking time with? And that was F-Zero Maximum Velocity. And the PAL version was a whopping $12.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all. I love F-Zero, the original Super Nintendo one in particular. Like I had just a lot of love for that game, and the its various sequels, like F-Zero X, I spent a lot of time with too.
Yeah.
On N64, I loved that one quite a bit. And what's the other F-Zero GX on GameCube? You know, I spent a lot of time with GX on GameCube for sure. But the trouble with GX on GameCube was that it was just too goddamn hard. So that one I wound up not spending as much time with because I just got my ass beat over and over again. But, you know, it's still a great game. But these Game Boy Advance ones, I didn't really mess with the sequels too much. Because there was, 3 for Game Boy Advance? I think 2 in America. Mm-hmm. And 3, there was a third one in Japan that was based right off of the anime.
Mm.
So, yeah, I don't know. F-Zero Maximum Velocity, $12. I think it's a fantastic game.
I really wanted to get a racing game on here too, and I debated some of the Mario Karts and F-Zero, but ultimately didn't make the cut. What did make the cut though, Chris, my third game is the first Fire Pro Wrestling for the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me in the least.
What is astonishing about this game is that, I mean, Fire Pro is not like N64 wrestling games. It's not like the PlayStation 2 era of wrestling games. Like it is a much more strategic wrestling game. It takes a little bit, like you really have to get used to playing Fire Pro Wrestling. Like if you've played other wrestling games, like when you were playing the WCW or the WWF at the time games or whatever, you kind of knew what you were doing, right? Like I know how to play this game. I've played other wrestling games. I know how to play this game. First time you pick up Fire Pro, it plays nothing like that. It's a totally different experience. So, gameplay aside, I think the gameplay is fantastic. But gameplay aside, the depth of the customizations that you can do on this little portable wrestling game. I mean, you could pick it up now and create any wrestler you wanted. Like any modern wrestler, it's probably got all of their moves in there. It's got something that you can do to make them look like it. It is an unbelievably deep create a wrestler that it's better, honestly, than any of the console ones that were around at this time, and maybe even still like to this day. It is astonishing what you can do. And then once you do learn the gameplay of Fire Pro, it is a very, very rewarding wrestling game experience, and it's $10. Like, it is not the cheapest game that I have on my list, but it is fuck, man. It is a great way to spend $10.
I mean, $10 certainly does seem like a pretty good thing to do.
Yeah.
that's for Fire Pro. I've played some Fire Pro.
It's just great, man. It's just a really, really well-made game. Even if you don't like... no, I'm not going to say that. You kind of have to like wrestling to get into Fire Pro. But if you like wrestling, this game is amazing.
Speaking of beating up dudes, this one made me very happy. This one made me very happy because I believe the American one is stupid expensive. I'm going to re-alphabetize these and go to... Where are you? Yeah, okay. Complete in box, the American version is $62. But the PAL version is $10 of Final Fight 1.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Final Fight 1 is fan-freaking-tastic. Now, it is, at its core, just Final Fight. And single-player Final Fight, I think, is great. It's not nearly as good as multiplayer, but, like, I think single-player Final Fight's great. And this particular version is so cool because it has this weird, like, extra story mode where you can play through the story mode as Guy or Cody from Street Fighter Alpha 3.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird, and it's got this weird story where, like, Cody's remembering before he was in jail, and he was a good guy, and so he's, like, playing through the game It's so weird, but it's so good. It is a great version of one of my absolute favorite beat 'em ups, and it's like I thought about this or like one of the Street Fighters on Game Boy Advance because they were also handled really well. But man, I must have played through Final Fight 1 like 3 times at least on the GBA, and it's such a fun game. It's a great port of it's a great version of a great arcade beat 'em up, and I think it's well worth the $10.
Yeah, I definitely considered that one as well. It's just didn't make my list. Didn't make it.
I understand. Not everybody has taste.
Speaking of, the penultimate game on my list is the last. Like, I will admit that my last game is kind of a cheat. But the last game, the last like true GBA game on my list is the PAL version.
True GBA game?
Yeah.
Not sure what. Well,
You'll
you got
see.
e-reader card games on
Yeah,
there?
of course, obviously.
Of course you do.
No, I don't. I wish I did. The PAL version for $26 of the original Golden Sun.
Ah, that's a solid one.
That game is one of, like, not the best. It's not one of the best RPGs on the Game Boy Advance. It is up there in like the upper echelon pantheon, whatever, of role-playing games. The original Golden Sun is a fucking masterpiece of a game. It is absolutely brilliant. It's gorgeous, like not just for the GBA, it's just a gorgeous looking game. The battle system is great. It's a simple turn-based battle system, but you've got your Psi Energy, which is your magic. You've got the Jin that you collect and level up throughout the game that do dope ass shit. Almost like a little Pokemon action in the game. It's got a really good story. It is just an outstanding role-playing game. One of my favorite games that I ever played on the GBA. One of my favorite role-playing games. The PAL version is $26. It is absolutely incredible. And one of those things that I really feel if you have a Game Boy Advance and have not played through Golden Sun, you are doing yourself a huge disservice. It's that damn good.
I don't disagree with you. In fact, you've actually just changed one of my picks here because I didn't think that was affordable. I looked up this one and it's on my didn't quite make it list, but I had it listed at a lot higher. And my next game was the exact same price. And I was like, no, Golden Sun, 100%. I've never finished Golden Sun. I'd really like to. I just haven't gotten around to it, and my ability to play through long JRPGs is kind of diminished. But if this ever shows up on Switch, I would really want to give it a serious go because it's one of those things I've always really wanted to do. Because Golden Sun seems like such a good game, and it's so well loved. It just knocked the other one off my list, which is unfortunate because the one that was on my list was Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland, which is my favorite Kirby game. This is an enhanced remake of the NES Kirby's Adventure, which is just, it's a wonderful, wonderful game. And as far as platformers go, it is just really top-notch stuff. However, I didn't have any RPGs on my list, and you just solved that problem for me with the PAL version of Golden Sun. I didn't look up the PAL version of that for some reason. So, problem solved. Golden Sun 100% has to be on there. That's a great pick.
Yeah, it's just an incredible game. It's an absolutely incredible game.
It looks so good, too. That was,
really
I remember when the
does.
GBA was launching, when they were showing off like the early footage and everything of what GBA could do, and like you saw that one with the camera panning around and stuff. Like, sure, it's all digitized, but it moved so well. It was so, it was really effective and convincing, even with like, not mode 7, but like everything got really pixelated close to the screen, but who cares? The art direction carried it so well, and the fact that it moved so smoothly, it just worked. It was such an impressive technical game.
It was one of the games that when I first got my GBA and got Golden Sun, I was like, I mean, if this is what the Game Boy Advance is going to be, this is like going to go down as one of the greatest systems of all time. And indeed it did. Like, it really, it showed off what this system was actually capable of. And there was a lot of really, really smart talented developers working on Game Boy Advance games. There's a lot of shit too. Like, make no mistake.
Oh, of course.
There is a ton of licensed garbage that is.
Oh my god, the
all over
GBA
the GBA
library is just dripping, positively dripping with shovelware.
It's just, there's so much crap on the system. But, like, I waffle on whether or not GBA is my favorite system of all time. Like, that's how fucking good it is. And Golden Sun was one of those games that just blew me away. I could not believe that was a handheld game.
Yes, like at the time, looking at like, oh, this is awesome. I'll play this. I'll play games that look like this on the go. That's how I felt about Circle of the Moon too. It's like,
yeah,
this doesn't look as good as Symphony of the Night, but for a Game Boy, this is insane.
This is unreal.
Nuts. Yeah, good times.
Such a good game.
All right, I have 2 left. You got 1 left?
I got 1 left. Yep.
All right, then I'll take the next one as well. And this I cannot believe is $3. This is ridiculous, and it should be the Japanese version of Mario vs. Donkey Kong is $3.
Oh my god!
Right?
I didn't look at any Japanese games. I kept all English speaking, but I suppose you don't need to.
You don't need anything for this.
Yeah,
it's Mario vs. Donkey Kong. It is not as good as the game that it's a prequel to. Donkey Kong 94 on Game Boy is a goddamn masterpiece.
Yeah,
but this is a really good follow up to it. It's the same basic mechanics. It's a bit uglier because it's very round CG.
Yeah,
but it's got decent music. It's got great puzzles. It is fucking tastic, and for $3,
yeah,
cannot believe it, because it just popped up when I searched for it on
price
charting, and like I was like, all right, my complete copy's $41, so maybe the loose one is affordable, and I'm looking at the list of like, I just typed in Mario vs. Donkey Kong. I was like, all right, GBA 1885 Japanese Game Boy Advance, $2.68. The fuck? That can't be right.
Must have sold a lot more over there.
Must have. That's just bonkers. Even the PAL version's only $10.80.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Just like, that's pretty good. But for $3, hell yeah, you want Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Game is great. Absolutely great.
Yeah, I
would be a fool not to get that for $3.
It makes me want to change my last pick, but I'm not going to, because I honestly think one of the best uses of the Game Boy Advance is to play quick pick up and play old school arcade games. And the Game Boy Advance Namco Museum is $5. It's got Pole Position, Galaga, Dig Dug, and Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That almost made my cut too.
I mean, goddamn, dude. For Miss Pac-Man alone, I would have put it on there. But then you throw Dig Dug and Galaga. Like, I'm not a huge Pole Position fan, but like I don't hate it. I don't love it all that much. But Galaga, Dig Dug, and Miss Pac-Man is just an outstanding. Like, I got 5 minutes. I'm in between a thing. Let me pop this in real quick and run a couple boards on Miss Pac-Man or whatever. Just absolutely a steal at $5.
Heartily agree. It's a very good package. I have that one myself. That's
yeah. It looks great. It plays great. Like it controls very, very well. Like everything responds exactly as you would want it to. Yeah, it's just an awesome version of those games. And that put me at $98.
Well, my last remaining $6 goes to a game that I spent. Oh, I wish there was an hours count on this thing where I could look at it and be like, all right, how much time did you really spend on this? Because I spent a lot of hours playing. The PAL version is $6 of Super Dodgeball Advance.
Oh, that game's so fun.
It is so good. It's multiplayer, single player. That game is a blast. I was never really able to properly get into the NES one. Like, a bunch of my friends loved it, and it never clicked with me. But I tried this Game Boy Advance one, and it it snapped like you wouldn't believe. I
Yeah.
played so goddamn much of that Super Dodgeball Advance. It's so good, and for $6, you better believe that was making my list. God, that game's fun.
Yeah, it's a really good game. That's a really solid pick. It's a really, really fun game. Damn.
And that's it. And that's what I got.
Jealous.
That got me to 100.
I'm a little jealous that I didn't put Super Dodgeball on there. Advance. But why do I say advance? They all had advance at the end of them. But
I think a couple of them even had advanced, which is wrong.
Which is wrong.
It's just like, what's wrong with you? It's the Game Boy Advance, not the Game Boy Advanced.
Advanced. It
is not past tense.
No.
It says so right on the system. You just got to look at it. It's no D.
What a damn good system. What a damn
really,
good system.
Really
and what a fucking brilliant refresh that Nintendo did with the SP. Like normally you refresh a console or whatever, you make it a little smaller, you blah, 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 whatever. The Game Boy Advance SP opened that system up to being just the fucking best. Just the best. Love it.
Yeah, the GBA SP was, especially the second one with the nicer backlit screen instead of the frontlit screen. Can you believe it took all the way to the Game Boy Advance SP to get a freaking light in a Nintendo handheld?
I know.
In America, anyway.
But goddamn, once they did.
Unbelievable.
Once they did,
they nailed it.
I
loved the Game Boy Advance. It's a great little system, but
I still play my SP.
I have all 3 of my SPs out for the Zelda thing that we're doing occasionally. we're a couple weeks off because life's been lifing pretty hard, but poor Sean. Sean's a lawyer and he's been having some pretty serious work situations. His boss barely just gave him a shitload of money as a raise. Be like, look, just don't quit, all right? I'm gonna hire you like 8 more paralegals. And they did. They gave him like a giant staff to work with him. He's been like working like absolutely crazy, and they're paying him a buttload of money for it. But he's been pretty stressed out. It's I love the Game Boy Advance SP, and like so I only have 3 SPs. So when we play Zelda, one person has to get stuck with the regular Game Boy Advance with no light.
Boo, boo hiss.
Wish I had one more. Yeah, all right, only.
Yeah. I only have 3 SP. You have the Nintendo one, right?
Yeah, I have the NES one, a red one, and my original blue one.
Yeah.
Cobalt,
the NES one is so cool. I fucking love that thing so
One of
much.
the coolest things I've ever seen. I love it.
I love it. It's my Tetris machine at this point. Like, that's really all I do with it anymore. But, goddamn, hours and hours. I had that system when I was a telemarketer. And I would just play video games and call people and ask them for money, and I was really good at it. It was awesome. All right, hit me with your list one more time, and then let's put a fork in it.
All right, 2 games in one: Sonic Advance and Sonic Pinball Party, Castlevania Circle of the Moon, F-Zero Maximum Velocity, Final Fight 1, Golden Sun, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and Super Dodgeball Advance.
God, it's a really good list. I'm also really happy with my list. My list was Advance Wars 2, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, Fire Pro Wrestling, Golden Sun, and the Namco Museum with Miss Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Galaga, and Pole Position.
Wow, there's really almost no overlap there.
Yeah.
And both of our lists are very good.
Yeah. What just missed your list?
Oh boy, Namco Museum, Nightmare in Dreamland, Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That's really good. It's only $10 for the Japanese version. Altered Beast Guardian of the Realm is $19 friggin'. Like, I love that game. Don't get me wrong, but seriously,
yeah, it's that's on my miss the cut.
I mean, just out of the question. We had Drill Dozer, Advanced Guardian Heroes, Gunstar Superheroes, both Metroids, the other 2 Castlevanias, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and Contra Advance. I didn't even write prices down on those because I was like, anywhere I sniffed anywhere near, I'm like, this is unreasonable. This is unreasonable.
I really, really strongly considered Advanced Guardian Heroes. I think that game's fucking great. $41.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had
Steep.
the Metroids as well. The other one that I really wanted to put on there, I just can't justify it at $43, is Sigma Star Saga.
Yeah, that's another really good one.
Such a cool-ass game. Just like, it's a top-down RPG, except when you get into random battles, it becomes a side-scrolling shooter. Game's fucking awesome.
Nice.
It's so cool, but it's $43, and it's just like, oh, man. Like, and Car Battler Joe. I have Car Battler Joe. I fucking
Mario Kart Super Circuit, Zelda Minish Cap, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga.
It's a brilliant system. It's an absolutely brilliant system. That, again, not saying you should do this, but if you can shmemulate, you should definitely shmemulate with a shmemulator.
Mario Advance 4 is just worth it for the e-reader levels alone.
Yeah.
But get that on Wii U. Like, that's just the way to play that, because it comes with all the e-reader levels just built right in. It's fantastic. WarioWare Twisted is awesome. The original WarioWare, oh my god. The first WarioWare for Game Boy Advance. Even
Wario Land 4.
Oh yeah, Wario Land
really
4,
good.
yeah.
That's
pretty
Advance.
solid too. I didn't finish that one. I didn't play a lot of that because I don't own it.
Oh, it's really good.
I'm not going to buy it now. Shit's expensive.
I'm not doing it now. Have you seen the prices on these things? Somebody should do a podcast about that.
Someday.
Ridiculous. Yeah,
Double Dragon Advance, that's another really good one.
Oh,
Double Dragon
really
Advance
good.
is really good. Just because of the
Mario
sheer curiosity of it.
Mm.
Mario Pinball's all right. I didn't love that one.
I like it.
The Pinball of the Dead's really fun though.
That one's really good.
Donkey
There's
Kong
a good
Country
Nightmare
3.
Before. There's a good Nightmare Before Christmas game too.
Really? Is that
Pumpkin
what was
King.
going on here?
Yeah, it's a good little platformer.
I never tried the GBA one. I tried the PS2 one. It was like, this is like God of War? I don't know how I feel about this.
It's a little weird. It's a little weird.
A little weird. All right. Yeah, that was a hoot.
Yeah. I'm done.
So,
I'm tired. I'm not even here anymore. Where are you?
That's going to be our show. Join us next week when theoretically we will be doing trivia time once again. I have made no plans for this at all. I don't have guest lineup. I don't have a single goddamn question written, but it's on my calendar for next week. And
It's all that matters.
I mean, we'll see if I can cobble together. If I can make this shit happen, I will. I don't know who I'm going to get on short notice, but I'm going to try, okay? We're going to try to do trivia time next week for you.
Tiff and Matt Much. Let's do it. I'll win.
Hey, if they want to...
That's really all I'm concerned about. I'll see if my neighbor across the street, Patrick, wants to come yell at me for some more shit. Do some trivia.
Oh, good Lord. All right, we're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes, as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep this show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by the ever-so-lovely banjo guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making this show listenable for all you folks, and we'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That's it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.